Hi, Game of Stakes players. Welcome back from the holiday hiatus. I wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on, um, how we're going to move forward with Game of Stakes in the new year. How this plans. We had a whole bunch of the Tendermint team came back from holidays. Everybody is rested and excited about getting Cosmos launched. And we had a bunch of sort of really key events. I really want to thank the community for all of their help, sort of getting preparations done for the relaunch of Game of Stakes. So let's walk through what's happened, where we were, and where we're going next. So Game of Stakes sort of won the initial Game of Stakes blockchain, halted after a little bit over 100,000 blocks because it was so we were having two issues with it. One is we set the maximum block size at 50 kilobytes, and we only had about and so when we started to get to about 200 validators, essentially the entire block was being taken up by validator signatures, and as a result, it was really hard to use the blockchain. Then we hit a state machine bug that hadn't been caught in QA in simulation and test nets before, and so so then the chain halted. So then on the 22nd, we tried to do a relaunch based on a state export from that initial blockchain. And we'd never on a public testnet done a state export on an upgrade on blockchain. We had tested it in simulation and tested it internally. But we ran into an issue with the slashing periods when one of the players double signed during launch and attempted to be slashed, and that pretty much immediately halted the chain. So that's where we were at the end of it. So then over the holidays, we started up a community testnet called Genki 4000, and I proposed a governance proposal that was about was proposed like an upgrade hard fork to sort of test the system at block 50,000. I sort of crafted out of band on my own repo because we were on a holiday and not going to use the normal release process, a branch with the export fixes in it. I missed an export fix, and then we got a blockchain called Genki 4001 that halted pretty quickly. And then figured out what fix we missed, pulled that in the export branch, exported again, and now we've had a long-running Genki 4002 testnet that's been a great success. So based on all of those experiences, we have an open pull request for Game of Stakes 3, which starts a blockchain on January 3rd, 1500 UTC, with a state export from Game of Stakes 1. I'll probably merge that pull request shortly. The second piece of it, of the sort of story, was we got a critical vulnerability disclosure from one of our part-time developers, Dev. Was able to, he goes by the handle Valar Dragon, and he found a coin minting vulnerability that was pretty severe, but not too complicated to fix. So I'm expecting to have a version 0.29.1 release ASAP. It should be non-state machine breaking, assuming this bug has never been exploited on a chain, and we have no reason to believe that it's been exploited on Game of Stakes before. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a launch tomorrow of Game of Stakes. This will be the Game of Stakes testnet alive again. We're going to launch this testnet, this Game of Stakes network. We're going to have strongly believe it will be a success based on the success of Genki 4002. we're gonna ask that validators run the new bug fix release, version 0.29.1, which would be released within the next probably hour or two. And then that will be the resumption of Game of Stakes. Here's what we're expecting to happen in terms of the length of Game of Stakes. We had pretty detailed meetings about this today. We're expecting Game of Stakes to restart tomorrow, on Thursday. We're expecting to do another sort of mandatory hard fork upgrade of Game of Stakes, to get some new features that the SDK is releasing, like vesting, and a new fee distribution system we call F1, into Game of Stakes. We think this will be a sort of a better Game of Stakes. We're also so here's what we're roughly planning on doing. We're planning on doing this. We're gonna launch Game of Stakes again tomorrow. We're going to run the Game of Stakes for a period of time. We're going to launch a community testnet with a new SDK, version 0.30 release. We're going to do an export and upgrade of Game of Stakes to the new release version. And then we are going, and we might try and do, it would be pretty cool if we can pull off an export and upgrade of Genki 4002 to Genki 5000. That would be pretty awesome. That would be a good way of testing this. We'll do a Game of Stakes 4 upgrade, and hopefully that represents pretty much the stable point of software, and we'll see whether or not any critical vulnerabilities are found. We're kicking off a bunch of software audits at the same time over the next 2 weeks. And those software audits may find vulnerabilities that need to be merged into and upgraded in Game of Stakes. And that will be that. And we're pretty much ready to start publicly communicating about the launch plans. We made a bunch of sort of concrete steps towards that. And I'll be sharing some more information with you guys on that later. But Game of Stakes is ready to go. Just sort of waiting on that version 0.291.1 release, and that will be that. Are there any questions? Anyone want to ask any questions in the chat? All right, no questions. Then let's call it a day, and I'm psyched for Game of Stakes to restart. See you guys in the chat room.